original season 2, episode 13, "The Devil is Damned." I definitely enjoyed this episode. We got really the culmination of I think the past 5 or 6 episodes, and a lot of things came to a head, especially the stuff with Cole and him really finally being put out to pasture as a villain. And it was definitely a great episode. I really enjoyed it. We didn't get to see too much loss on the side of the good guys. I don't think really any outside of Finn, which technically happened in the last episode, him being hexed. But we did find out the fact that he is officially hexed, and there is no way to reverse it. He's going to be dead, and that's pretty much it. There won't be any jumping any bodies. I guess technically with the ending that we had, Finn did kind of give up his magic, but at the same time, I'm sure he could still jump bodies. I don't know if there was a complete clause to that. If he gives up the magic right now, he'll give up 100% of the magic or what. There's easily a million different possibilities that they can write into the show because it's magic. It's just whatever it is. So you never really know about that. I definitely love the way they ended the episode with Elijah kind of getting back into the groove of things. He's been out with Cammy and Hope, and they've been in this one little place for a long time, and Cammy's been helping Elijah kind of deal with basically the PTSD that he's been having because of his mother. She revealed things that he'd forgotten or that kind of she hid from him. And he's been working with that, a tiny little smudge. He snaps and loses it. He kind of lost it a little bit in this episode. He did a lot better. But he still kind of lost it when Hope hit her head, or the little thing fell on her head and she was bleeding. And it was this tiny itty bitty little scratch on the baby's head. And he kind of lost it for a little bit. He was out of it. He was seeing the red door, and Cammy had to bring him out of it again. And by the end, it seemed like he, was gonna go through it all over again. He had the blood in his chest. He touched it, and it seemed like he was kind of losing it. But at the end portion, he was actually doing it as a ploy to kind of, admittedly, just to get Finn monologuing, because that's kind of what his character has done. And he got him monologuing to let the gas kind of fill up the house. And then I just love the way he did it. He just took off his ring and let himself get set on fire, which I think they just did. I think it was maybe 2 episodes or 3 episodes ago. They did the exact same thing in the Vampire Diaries, or it was something very similar. And Elena had turned on the gas because she was in the class and all this extra stuff. If you haven't seen it, then it's just a bunch of extra explanations. But the point is, she had some gas shooting towards a person, and she put her hand into the light, and it basically made a blowtorch type of thing. And it made me think of that. It was just people using kind of the vampire weakness as a strength. And of course for Elijah it's much easier. He can easily heal from that. He just be in a lot of pain without the ring. So for him it was a little bit different. He wouldn't exactly have to worry about just totally burning to death. At least I don't think he would. I don't know if he'd be able to heal from that over and over. But I love the way that it ended, and that was a really cool way for him to finish off, and if not permanently, at least temporarily. And the little nod that they kind of gave with Hope basically having this spidey sense type of thing, this magic radar type stuff where, she possibly sensed something bad was going on, and she stopped the car and shut the whole thing down because, she knew that something dangerous was about to happen. There was it was she could just sense it. There is the intent to kill right now. Danger's afoot. I gotta stop myself from getting killed off. And then as soon as the house blew up, the car starts up again, and Cammy's what the heck just happened? And that was really cool. It's her specific set of skills. It's that's what Hope is gonna have as she grows up, which unfortunately we won't really get to see too often because it's not she's just gonna be walking around and a full grown adult in the series. That would take a long freaking time. So it'll be bits and pieces here and there where something dangerous is going to happen, and just mentally she's going to have that instinct to survive, and magical things are going to happen around her. So I actually think that's really cool. It's also interesting because it's magic based. It's not a werewolf thing, it's not a vampire thing. That was complete magic. There is nothing from really either sides of her family outside of Esther being like a great witch, which I guess technically could be passed down by bloodlines based on, I guess, every other thing I've ever seen witches in. So maybe that's why she was able to do that, because it was passed down from her grandmother, who, once again, I don't think she was a witch when it first started. I think she made herself a witch, or I honestly can't remember. The show is like, because obviously this stuff goes like way beyond just the past year with the Vampire Diaries and all that. But I guess she was a witch when she was younger, because they did have the flashback with her and her sister, who we got a little bit of info on, like a tiny bit. They kind of teased us with it, and Freya was in it for a little bit, and then she kind of vanished, which I thought was really weird. But I'll get to that too. But her, basically Esther being a witch, I would have to assume that that's kind of how this just happened with Hope, and that's how she was able to stop the car just off of sheer instinct. And it may or may not just simply be enhanced due to the fact that she is a hybrid baby, so that could just enhance it. And once again, all the extra random stuff that you could just write in, because it's magic, it's whatever you want it to be. So I'm definitely curious to see how they explain that, and what other little events come out of Hope having like this just simple instinct to survive and protect herself from basically death. Because that was a pretty cool little moment, a nice way to just end the episode. Like, this baby doesn't just heal, which is, personally, that's what I think happened. I don't think Elijah did anything to help her or gave her vampire blood to heal her. I'm pretty sure she just healed, because I don't know why she wouldn't be able to heal. She's the baby of a hybrid and a hybrid. So it's like, or I guess at the time Haley was a werewolf, but she's the baby of a hybrid. She should be perfectly fine. I was surprised she didn't heal instantly, to be completely honest. And, that kind of surprised me that it happened later in the episode. But I love the way that it ended. I love the stuff to, getting to see Finn really rise up. Like, he was this villain for a while now. Like, after his mother failed, he turned on her. I guess technically he was working with his father. His father kind of just wanted everyone gone, so he was working. They were working together, and he got all of Marcel's vampires. I love the scene when he was threatening Marcel, like when he stabbed the one vampire. What he did with the second one, when he basically just did like a force pull and just the heart just flew right out. I kind of like the special effects, because it was like a 1 second shot, but it was just like, and the heart just like flew right out of the shirt. I actually thought that looked really cool. I thought it was a nice little scene. And he was really badass in this episode. He led everyone on a wild goose chase. Like, I need Haley's blood, I need Klaus's blood for a locator spell, and he already knew what he needed, and he went to get the baby, and he, tricked everyone. He was really smart about it, and he had Elijah trapped, and honestly, I still don't understand how Elijah was able to get out of that. It didn't make sense to me, but I loved him in this episode. He got to that peak. He figured out the big secret. He was going for the gold. Like, I'm saving myself. I'm saving everybody else. I unfortunately have to kill a baby, but that's what I have to do to keep this, keep our evil aunt from coming after the entire family. And he failed at that mission, so we're gonna get Freya, and we're gonna get their aunt, whose name I normally remember, but I can't think of it right now. And it should be interesting, and I don't know, like, I believe Freya initially when she was telling Finn exactly what happened. Like, I ran from her because any betrayal is punishable by death, so I took off. And then as soon as Finn mentioned the fact that the baby was alive, when she grabbed the necklace, it made me think, like, she's lying. Like, it instantly made me think that, like, she's either still working for her, and that's why she wanted to find the baby. It could be because she's scared. Admittedly, that could easily be the case. That's exactly why Finn was like, going crazy to try to kill the baby, because he knew that that's what would happen. But it made me think that maybe she is actually still working with her aunt, and she's been doing that because she's been trying to find the rest of her family. Like, she wasn't able to do it. And I love the fact that the spell is like a crazy spell where they sleep for 100 years and then wake up for 1 year, and then that's when they get to go about. And I was hoping that they would mention it in this episode as to whether or not Freya and their aunt were on the same timeline. Like, maybe they both wake up at the same time, but maybe not. Like, maybe they're separate. That way they could when they were with each other, they could look out for each other. Like, okay, I'm gonna basically be in stasis for 100 years, although you'll be in stasis for 99 of them. At least for this 1 year, we can kind of figure things out. I have this plan set up for the next 100 years. Do this 1 year, and then when you go back to sleep, I'll wake up, and then I'll do this the next year. And once again, magic, you could just write whatever you want. So they're doing something in the background. But we didn't really get a lot of info on what was going on outside of the fact that their aunt is alive still and she hunts. So we're going to get to see her soon. I knew as soon as she was mentioned, and with the baby still being alive, I knew for a fact that she was going to come into the series. With us being so far into it now, though, I think she might not come in this season. She might get introduced in maybe the last couple of episodes if Freya doesn't completely take over. So if she's not introduced in these last couple of episodes this season, for sure she has to be the villain for next season, unless it's going to be Freya all season 3, and then season 4 their aunt comes in, which either way, they have a lot of stuff that they can work with, and they still technically have both their parents, which honestly, because we don't see them, it's like the out of sight, out of mind type of thing for me, where I completely forget about them. And it was like, kind of looking back at things, going from the beginning of this season with the Guerrero werewolves, where it was like, they're going to be like a third of the season. They all died in the first episode, and then it was them dealing with Esther. They defeated Esther. Michael really wasn't in it too much. He wasn't in it nearly as much as I thought he would be this season, but everyone knows he's out there. They know that both Esther and Michael are being channeled by Finn. They don't know where they are, so with Finn having to let go of that magic, he dropped the spell on the vampires, so I have to assume that both Esther and Michael are now awake as well. And then just a bunch of extra crap. Like, they still have like 4 villains now. They have Freya, their aunt, both their parents. They have all of them basically just out there, and they can pretty much switch in and out with all of these different characters, most of which can't even really die. Like, Michael can't really die. Now their mother can't, because she's a vampire, unless of course they stab her in the heart or rip her heart out or whatever. Freya, I'm sure, has some sort of super spell to keep her alive, and I'm sure their aunt does as well. Otherwise, there wouldn't be this giant spell where it's like, I'm going to come after the firstborn or kill everyone else. So they still have like 4 major villains that they can write with and interchange all these people, take one person out temporarily, bring another person back in. So there's a lot to look forward to for this show, and I'm really looking forward to the stuff with Freya and her encountering the rest of her siblings, who, if I remember right, she's the second oldest out of all the siblings. So I'd love to see how that plays out, where she kind of deals with the little chain dynamic where Klaus is like the strongest of everyone because he's the hybrid, and he's the one who just stabs everyone left and right, but she's technically like the second oldest child and stuff like that. I'd love to see how that plays out, and everything from now on, with just the secret of the baby being out there with a couple more characters at least, and then Freya being out there. And like I said, she just vanished in this episode. She helped Finn, and it was like she just disappeared. She wasn't in the rest of the episode. I really thought that was weird. I thought she would go with him to help kill the baby, but she didn't. She helped him with the spell, and then she just took off, and she was gone. Once again, a lot of questions, like, why wouldn't she go with him? If she's on the run, wouldn't she have been safer staying in the house? But she's going after the rest of her family too, and then all this other extra stuff. There's a ton of different things that I have to wonder about, a lot of speculations. Of course, her possibly meeting both her parents again. Just a lot of craziness most likely will ensue because it's the originals. But I love this episode. A lot of cool stuff happening. Haley decided that she really needs to go on with this wedding as soon as possible so that everyone can have the ability to protect themselves from vampires, whether it's a curse or just a genuine attack. I love the fact that all the other alphas were bowing down to the other guy. I swear I always try to remember his name, but I never can. But I thought that was a cool scene. Like, they realized how beneficial it is, so they decided to renounce their alpha status to him. And I thought that was a really cool little scene, and they're going to have the wedding and stuff in the next episode, which I'm really excited for. mostly because of how crazy Klaus seems to be, based on the preview, because it seems like he wants to kill her husband. Like, as soon as they get married, it seems like he's just gonna kill the guy off. And I don't know what to expect about that. Elijah doesn't want him to do it, so he's gonna be going up against Klaus again. And then some other crazy stuff is sure to happen out of nowhere. Who knows who might show up or randomly drop dead or get hit with this another spell. But I'm excited for next week's episode. I definitely love this one. Don't know if Finn is permanently gone or if he was able to jump into another body. If he's gone, he was a great villain. I really love the fact that he was really cold and calculating. He stuck to his morals, so much so that he went against his mother when she didn't stick to her. So I definitely loved him as a villain. I like the guy who played him, like the actor. His mannerisms were really cool, like the way he would do like the little, like he would just rub his fingers together and that would just take everybody down. For some reason that always really stood out to me, because everyone does, like, you know, they hold their hand up and it's like they're pushing you down with an invisible force and stuff. And he would just do this, just rub his fingers together, and it would just like drive people nuts. So I liked him as a villain, whether he's permanently gone or temporarily gone. He was definitely good. The ending was great with the baby and her, you know, having these magic sensing abilities and being able to completely shut down the car to protect herself, as well as Cammy. The stuff with Haley in the wedding was cool. The whole stuff with the vampires being spelled, I thought that was going to be cool, and it definitely was. It was a short scene. It wasn't as like out of control as I expected it to be, with them being like right by the werewolves, but it was still a cool little scene. And you know, they had to protect the werewolves and fight off the vampires, who even right after they got their neck snapped, they got right back up. I thought it was a nice little touch. But I love this episode. It's definitely a great one. Really excited for next week's episode, and I cannot wait to see what they do with Freya. And of course, I want to know what you guys thought, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And of course, I want to know what you guys think is going to happen with Freya, because she only has, I think she said, 1 year of life, and then she's down for 100 more years. So my guess is she's going to try to find some sort of spell. Who knows how long she's been doing that. I mean, I would have to assume she's in like her mid-20s, so it's been like, you know, hundreds upon hundreds of years, almost going, well, over 1,000 years, of course, going, you know, 1 year at a time. I'm sure with her being alive at this point in the series, she'll have been working on some stuff. She'll have some spells or whatever. I don't really know what to expect with her going after the rest of the family and then her aunt possibly being alive. But I know I'm excited to see it, and like I said, I want to know what you guys thought. I know this is a long review, but I feel like there's just a lot to talk about for this episode. A lot of stuff that's going to be going down in future episodes. So please comment below, let me know what you guys thought, and thanks for watching.